What's up, everybody? My name is Tommy Griffith. I'm one of the co-founders of ClickMinded. Today, we're going to be going over how to build out your own SOP library. This is a tutorial on exactly how I set up a branded SOP library in 5 minutes or less. So if you've been trying to build out your own SOP library, or if it's one of these things where you know you should do it, but you haven't yet, then this is the video for you. At a really high level, this is what we're going to be going over today. First, we're going to ask the question, which SOPs do you need in your library? Then what format do you want them in? Where will you store them? How will you organize them? Who will you delegate them to? And then what's the best way to get started? So first up, which SOPs do you need in your library? Now, this is going to be context dependent, depending on your business. But if you're a digital marketing agency or a consultancy, or you offer some kind of service, the first thing you're going to want to do is map out your service offerings. Write them down and actually visualize what you do on a day-to-day basis for clients. SEO, paid ads, social media, email, analytics, web development, creative strategy. You want to put all of those in a bucket somewhere. Then you want to break each service down into repeatable workflows. So for example, if you have an SEO offering, you might break that down into keyword research, on-page optimization, backlink outreach, and weekly reporting. Then you want to look at auditing your existing processes. So a good example of something that you might miss is undocumented workflows. Are there certain things in your business that everyone knows to do but aren't written down? That's a great candidate for an SOP that you should create. And then finally, you want to prioritize the creation order. So you want to look at the highest priority, highest impact things that you're doing the most frequently. For example, campaign setup for a new client would be much more important than some obscure troubleshooting bug fix that you don't do very often. Next up is the format. What format do you want them in? At ClickMinded, we offer SOPs in Google Docs, PDFs, and .docx. Whatever your format preference is up to you, but you need to decide that early on. Where will you store them is another question. Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, Dropbox, Box, Apple iCloud. There's a lot of different options here. You need to pick your storage format of choice. In addition to the major cloud platforms, there's also project management systems that many people use. Notion, Trello, Asana, ClickUp, Monday.com. If you have a preference here, just pick the one that you're most comfortable with or the one that you're already using, but you need to decide this before you start. Next up is how will you organize them? So it's very important to categorize your SOPs based on your workflow and how you and your team works. We have a number of different filtering options at ClickMinded. I'm just opening up the execute section of the ClickMinded members area here. We have taxonomy related to the category of the SOP: analytics, content, email, funnels, operations, paid, SEO, social. We can also filter by platform: Ahrefs, Google Search Console, Google Tag Manager, WordPress, SEMrush, Looker Studio, Squarespace. We can also filter on use case: A/B testing, client onboarding, email automation, market research, local SEO, tracking setup, TikTok advertising, and also resource type: prompts, SOPs, templates, and recipes. So the format that you decide in terms of organization is up to you. It's based on your workflows, but you do need to decide that before you get going. Next is who you will delegate them to. So at the top of every SOP, you typically want to announce the person that should be executing this SOP. The reason why this is important is because we found in the past, you can accidentally create an SOP that has no owner. So you want to make it very, very clear who the intended reading audience is for each SOP before you get going. And finally, the last question: what's the best way to get started? The best way to get started is to watch this video. We're going to be building this out right now. Okay, so let's get going on building out your own branded SOP library. So the first step prior to all of the selection of SOPs and the bulk exporting and all that is we want to brand these things first. And you can do that at ClickMinded. So I'm in the members area of ClickMinded, and on the left-hand side, I've clicked execute. This is where all of our SOPs, templates, recipes live. We can filter by different variables, but I'm going to come over to search, and I'm just going to type in white label. Give it a minute to think here, and there it is, SOP number 135. That's what I'm looking for: white label ClickMinded SOPs and marketing strategies. So we're going to go ahead and click that. Okay, and so this is loaded. And so this is the SOP on how to white label all ClickMinded SOPs so that there's no ClickMinded branding on them at all, and your own company's branding can go on them. Just like normal, every one of our SOPs starts with a goal, an ideal outcome, why it's important, where it's done, when it's done, and who does it, and then any prerequisites that are required as well. So all we're going to do is follow the instructions, and as we complete them, we're going to check them off on the left-hand side, and we'll see the little completion meter on the left move as we go along. So first step, open up the page to edit your bulk white label settings, and under Enable Bulk White Label, select Yes, and then upload your brand logo, max width 250 pixels by 100 pixels high. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so I'm in the My Account section under Bulk White Label Settings. I'm going to enable bulk white labeling, and I'm going to select a logo here. I just designed one in Canva that looks like this, Tommy's Agency, with a little laptop. Any brand colors that you want for certain fonts and headings, you can select those or set the hex code as well. We're just going to go for a blue for now. And then remove ClickMinded links. So SOPs by default have links back to ClickMinded on them. If you want to remove them, all you have to do is click Yes, and then click Update White Label Settings. And there we go. So our logo is uploaded, our branding colors are there, and ClickMinded links have been removed. So I can scroll up here and check this off as complete and roll down to the next one. Next is to export your white labeled SOPs. Open up the SOP you want to export. Under the export options, click on Google Docs or PDF. You can now send these newly branded SOPs to clients or employees as if they're yours. So just as an example to show you how this works, I've opened up SOP 118, granting access to a WordPress site. So let's say you're an agency, your agency is called Tommy's Agency. You've just signed a new client. That client uses WordPress as their main content management system. You need access to it. So instead of giving them a detailed email on how to grant you or your team access to WordPress, you should use a ClickMinded SOP and put your own branding on it. So here it is, SOP number 118. Goal, ideal outcome, why it's important, where it's done, when it's done, who does this, and any prerequisites. You could utilize this inside the ClickMinded interface, or you could just export it as a PDF, Google Doc, or .docx. We're going to select Google Docs for today. Okay, that just took a couple of seconds. This SOP has been successfully exported to Google Docs. Click here to view it. I'm going to make a copy. And there we go. SOP number 118 is there with my branding on it. I may need to modify my logo. I just quickly made this in Canva. I probably need to make that transparent to make it nicer. But as you can see on the top left hand of every page of the document, my agency logo is there, ready to go. And as a reminder, that was just Google Docs, but we could also export this as PDF and .docx as well. Now, if all that makes sense and you're on board and you're saying, great, Tommy, this is awesome. I've got my branding on there. I know exactly what SOPs I want to add. I have a plan for this, but I do not want to manually export 180 different SOPs. Please help me. We totally understand. We got this request very, very often. People that were all for using the ClickMinded SOP library to start the V1 of their SOP library, but they wanted a bulk export feature, and so we decided to give you one. So we now have this as a feature for paying members of ClickMinded. If you go over to the Execute section in your account on the left-hand side, and then scroll over here to this beta feature, Export All SOPs. All you need to do is click this, and you can export all of our SOPs in bulk to your Google Drive. All you need to do is log in with Google to do so. Just a heads up, if you do, because of some bad actors we've had in the past, unfortunately, if you do use this feature, you're no longer eligible for a refund. So we are happy to provide this for you. We hope it saves you a ton of time, but you revoke your right to a refund once you use this feature. Hope that's cool. So I'm gonna click Login with Google here, and then I'm gonna sign into the ClickMinded platform. It's gonna ask for access so we can export these to your Google Drive. And then once I grant access, you'll see this message here. We're working on exporting the SOPs to your Google Drive. It can take some time, so please be patient. You'll get an email from us when that's done. So I just received an email in my inbox. I click the link and I am redirected to my Google Drive. A new folder has been created called SOPs. All of the SOPs are here. I can click any one of them. Open it up and the SOP is branded with my logo. And it's on every single page. So that's it. That's a high-level overview of how to set up your own branded SOP library. Now, if you're not a ClickMinded member yet and you want to get started, we have a free plan that gets you going with a handful of SOPs that are critical for any marketing team or any digital marketing agency. Click the link down below to get going. Thanks a lot.